Deep down inside, anybody that's ever visited a zoo on this planet wishes that they could go in, cuddle that grizzly bear, and pet the lion or tiger, and swim with those polar bears. No, not like this. Like this. I want to tell you exactly how we built that, but I also want to explain why this is one of my favorite places that we've ever built and why I love visiting there anytime I head up to the cottage. Last week we took you to Sudbury Science North, and this time we're going even further. Going all the way up to Cochrane, Ontario. It's about a 9.5 hour drive from Toronto, especially if you're actually doing the speed limit. So the Cochrane Polar Bear Habitat is actually the largest polar bear habitat in the entire world. You heard that right, the entire world. As a teenager, my grandparents lived just down the road, and we would always go visit the polar bear habitat as kids. Getting to learn and experience these animals face to face, I think it's really important that we understand the world around us. And frankly, it's just not always possible to get as far north as polar bears would truly be. And this facility does an incredible work.
What an absolute joy it was to go back to the polar bear habitat, see how it's been after all these years. And they've done so much work there, like with the little village and the snowmobile museum, to really make it homey for families like us, entertaining the kids. It was quite a bit of fun to show the kids, you know, how Cochrane might have looked in the early 1900s.
So when we built this habitat, actually, I was not the man on the ground. I was too young. This is way back in the early 2000s, and I was still in school. But my brother actually was part of this, and our old foreman, Jeff, and they did an incredible job beating the weather. As anybody that's been in the deep north knows, it hits -40 and it stays there for a good chunk of time.
My brother was not lying. It gets cold. It gets really cold.
That made everything more difficult, but of course the panel system doesn't really care about how cold it is. So that's a wonderful part. We can actually do our steel structures and we can put panels up. It doesn't really matter how cold it is, other than to us. So with any panel job, what we do is we start with a steel structure. This one was on a base of concrete walls and block walls and poured walls in a shot pool. And then what we do is we put our steel structure there, then we add our panels, we lath the seams in between, we do a little bit of rebar work, especially for the caps. Then we actually lath it, shoot fiber coat on it, and then we hand carve the finish coat. I remember my mom talking about the paint on this one, and she absolutely loved the detail that they wanted. Mimicking all that northern granite was just such a fun task, and I know from personal experience, anytime you can go highly detailed is much better. It's always more of a fun challenge, and anytime that you can replicate hyper-realism, it just translates not only in the experience but the immersion as guests come in. For the pool, we shot the pool on top with our finish, stamped and carved it in place. That didn't require any panels.
I'm extremely happy with how this one turned out. To see the bears interacting, just to see people interacting, it's just wonderful to experience from a different lens. I gotta say that I am recovering from losing my voice, so with that being said, I'm gonna let Amy talk for a little bit and tell you a little bit more about the habitat.
Hello, my name's Amy. I'm the manager here at the Cochrane Polar Bear Habitat. We are the largest facility in the world for polar bears, and we're the only one that cares for just polar bears. So that means that all of our resources, all of our knowledge, everything that we have goes directly into caring for our bears. So behind us here, we have our large pool. This pool is open year-round for our bears. In the winter time, it aerates so it doesn't freeze solid. There does get some nice ice around the outside though, so they do get to wander around. We have 5 different enclosures for our polar bears. They have over 24 acres of space to be able to freely roam around in. Of those enclosures, we do have our largest enclosure, the lake enclosure, and it has a 21-acre lake in the middle of it. So obviously in the wintertime, it freezes solid. In the summertime, they can swim. Right now, they're swimming around eating all of the cattails. They really enjoy those. They pull them up and eat the starchy bit off the bottom. So lots of natural substrate here for the bears. There's very little man-made structures around, obviously, other than our fencing and our buildings that they live in at night. It's very, very natural for them. We're around 250 kilometers south of the native polar bear range. So the weather, the climate, the temperatures, everything like that, a lot of our plant life is very common to what those both southern bears up in the Arctic are experiencing as well. So we have 3 male polar bears that live with us. We have Inukshuk, Ganuk, and Henry.
Some sad news from the Cochrane Polar Bear Habitat today as it announced the passing of one of its beloved polar bears, Inukshuk.
Sadly, he just passed away, literally after we actually visited and filmed this video.
Lived a long, beautiful life. And I gotta say, like, when I was building, I do have one memory that I remember. We were working on the inside of the visitor center, and he was in one of the other habitats. And I do remember him just sort of going up on his hind legs and pushing on the one glass just to, I guess, test it or something. Very sad. My heart goes out to all the staff there at the Cochrane Polar Bear Habitat. My heart goes out to you for this loss.
Inukshuk is our oldest bear. He's 21 now. For a bear in the wild, that would be a very good age for a male. Males typically live into their, late teens, early 20s. Females are a little bit longer than that. So at 21, he is quite a good age. Ganuk is his oldest offspring. Ganuk is 14 years old now. There is no love there between father and son. Males have no hand in raising their cubs. So Ganuk is quite a solo guy. He likes to live on his own. He just likes to watch the others. Then our youngest is Henry. Henry is 11 years old, and he was actually born at SeaWorld in Australia. So Henry was born in the southern hemisphere, and he came to live with us when he was 2.5. This is definitely their favorite pool. It's about 16 feet deep, so they can dive right down to the bottom. In the summertime especially, they really do enjoy their pool. It helps them to cool off. In the wintertime, Henry's the only one brave enough to swim. Polar bears can absolutely swim in the winter. They will not freeze. They just choose not to, and that's fine. The nice big flat rocks around the edge as well are actually one of Inukshuk's favorite spots too. He'll actually sunbathe. He'll lay down there and he'll just kind of go to sleep in the sun. He could go into the pool, he could go into the building if he wants, but sometimes he just likes hanging out on those flat rocks and having a sleep.
I think the design of this stands above and different than anything else, if solely just for the fact that they have an entire lake in its grounds, as well as this swim up spot that kids and parents and anybody who desires to can actually go and swim next to the polar bears. And as you can see, the polar bears are super interactive and super curious, probably thinking what a hungry treat, but they seem super playful and actually seem to enjoy it. This is something that I think more interactive should be brought into the zoo world, whether it's a research center or a zoo. I think that this brings a greater connection to the animals and to the experience itself. And I think that shows from just the people that get to enjoy it.
What a great experience. What a great thought to have general public and children swim with the polar bears. I just think it's so cool. And to be honest, every time I tell somebody that that's what we did, nobody ever really believes me. And some people wouldn't even believe that you would ever go into the water with a polar bear, even on the other side of a glass. So to me, I just think what a cool design choice. These are the things that I love about our whole process, and I'm glad that we were able to take it there.
We'll be partnering with Science North. We already are. We started the agreement with them to update all of our educational signage and displays. So it's a little bit more up to date. Science changes quickly. Our current exhibitry is still fantastic, but it's a tiny bit out of date. And so, yeah, we're going to be working with them to replace what we have now and to grow that as well. So we're going to be having some more areas, some more interactive exhibits for a range of ages of visitors. So we're really excited. We are working on funding at the moment. And then it's a big decision on what we're going to put in. So there's going to be a lot of discussions about what we would like to highlight, what information people are looking to see, and how we can connect best with our schools, with our local community groups, and just with our visitors that come to us from all over Canada and abroad. So if anyone is looking to help support the polar bear habitat and to help support Gannock and Henry and Inukshuk and the home in which they live, we do have a donate page on our website. You can be a one-time donor or you can sign up for a monthly donation.
If you ever have a hope or wish to donate and help this facility, we'll have that link down below.
And even a small amount goes a long way when it's coming in every month. We are open to any kind of corporate or group donations as well. So please reach out to us if you'd like any more information or even to donate. We'd really love to hear from you.
We mentioned that this is 10 hours away, but wouldn't you drive 10 hours to be able to swim with a polar bear?
That's all I have for you this week. Of course, make sure to like and subscribe and let us know in the comments below. Have you been to the polar bear habitat? Have you been to some of the habitats that we've been talking about? Let us know what your favorite one is. Every other week, we are putting a video out on the Rockscapes channel here, trying to show you the different process, what we love to do, and how we do it. In 2 weeks, there's no exception. We're actually going to be putting out a fantastic video for you. I think you're gonna love it, especially if you've been loving all this zoo content. We're gonna keep going with that. And in 2 weeks, you're going to be able to see the lion habitat, one of my favorites of all time that we built at the Toronto Zoo. We will see you on the next one.